The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, Dr. Rudy Kachmann. Welcome to our show. I think you're going to find this very interesting. If you don't have this problem, that's okay. I'm certain there's somebody in your family or a friend that you could help with this problem of diabetes. What I'm specifically speaking about more is type 2 diabetes, but let me explain to you the difference. I mean, the good news is that type 2 diabetes and its complications, 50 diseases, 90% of them could be avoided, prevented, or reversed 6 weeks. So this is a good news show for you if you know someone like this, or if you yourself have a problem. That if you're a bit overweight, have a pot belly, it's on the list. They're even what are called the trophies, thin on the outside, but fat on the inside, fat on the liver, and they have diabetes. So your blood work is really the bottom line, not always just your body size. 75% of the time, you can tell by looking at somebody if they're diabetic, but 25% of the time, they look perfectly healthy, but have abnormal blood tests. So today, I'm going to take you on the path of proper testing, and then give you advice at the end how to quickly to get rid of type 2 diabetes, okay? And I'm going to review with you an article that I wanted the Fort Wayne Medical Journal to publish about. They said it wasn't formatted correctly. I don't know. I reread it. I published other things there before. I was concerned maybe they didn't like the message. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I do have good news. The new head of Lutheran Hospital, Tony, president, I met with him the other day. He's going to read this book. I'm going to mention up to you Joseph Kraft's book. He's going to read it, meet with me again. And I think he might be willing to lead the charge of proper testing and changing something very positive for the hospital. I just get a feeling. He seems so nice and friendly that I think we're going to get something done. So what am I speaking about? What was I trying to get published? So I want you to be part of this and help me carry this message forward, because the complications of diabetes are in the millions in the world, maybe a billion, yeah. Millions. United States, probably 100 million people who get diabetes. They may call it pre, or most of them don't know it, haven't been properly tested. And so I'm looking at this as the golden opportunity, okay? The golden opportunity to prevent a disease, or at least to diagnose it early, should be our goal. A lot better than getting the complications, buying all the medicines, and then we have dementia, heart attack, or stroke. All things can be caused by diabetes. Let me review that real quick. What types of diabetes are the most common things? Dementia, heart attacks, strokes, thyroid disease, amputations, vascular disease, liver transplants, renal transplants, dislocations, sexual impairment, all sorts of problems that can be prevented, okay? Type 1 diabetes is where you don't make any insulin. It is thought that mainly viruses or bacteria cause this in the young, for example, but also consuming too much milk can do it, gluten can do it, the other things that can do it, okay? But now the type 1 actually is more common than ones who were type 2. Their pancreas is sick and tired of secreting insulin to push sugar into the cell, and the pancreas dies. Now you're type 1 too. So the large majority are type 1. And insulin is not just a savior because it causes increased rates of cancer. It causes inflammation. It helps cause dementia, for example. Half of dementia is related to diabetes because they're related to insulin metabolism. No one's telling you that. They'll say, it's Alzheimer's disease. Most of the time, it's diabetes. Joseph Kraft wrote a book years ago. If you have a chance to read it, can't afford it, go to the library, okay? Amazon, $17, I think. Take it 2 or 3 nights to read it. In this great book, published in 1975, what he is really saying is the first test to run to screen people should be a serum insulin that goes up long before the blood sugar goes up. If you say you have a human cell, it'll have on it receptors. These are the things sticking out. It is insulin's job to take sugar, tap the receptors, and push sugar in the cell for energy. Without energy, you're dead, okay? What's been happening is because we eat so much sugar, gets converted to fat triglycerides that make these receptors sticky, and insulin cannot get sugar in the cell. We can't live without it. So the pancreas puts out insulin like anything, secretes it, works hard, works like a dog, and the serum insulin level is constantly going up, but the blood sugar is still normal for a time. If we were testing for the serum insulin, we'd be catching you on the path to diabetes, and it's a lot easier to lose 5 pounds than 50. Very simple thing, scientifically proven, okay? But I meet a lot of resistance for people to change, okay? Medical providers to change. So to prevent a disease, or at least to diagnose it early, should be our goal. We're missing the opportunity to prevent about 90% of the people on the path to type 2 diabetes. The same actually applies to type 1 diabetes because the majority of type 2 become type 1 when the pancreas becomes impaired. Many scientific papers have been published since the 1970s proving the point. It seems shameful that we have been missing a great opportunity. It is shameful. Because we had tested people properly, we could preventing about 50 diseases and many deaths. Of course, it didn't help that many well-known scientists, universities, and the government told us that eating too much fat was the problem when they knew better. The CDC and NIH were doing the same thing. The government was involved and still is supporting the price of sugar, fructose corn syrup, and giving $40 billion a year to the corn industry, which the cows are eating, for example, to promote increased milk production. And milk, as you know from my previous show, is not that healthy, okay? Just read the multiple scientific peer-reviewed articles published by Dr. Joseph Kraft, 1970s and 80s. He was chairman of the Department of Clinical Pathology and Nuclear Medicine at St. Joe Hospital, University of Illinois in Chicago. Performed 3,000 autopsies, studied 14,000 patients, okay? And he ran glucose tolerance tests. That's fasting, 1 hour, 2 hour, checked their blood sugar level and the serum insulin level. And he found the serum insulins elevate long before the sugar. So we could be diagnosing diabetes 15 years before its time. It's a lot easier to prevent it then than it is 20 years later when you've already had a lot of the side effects. remember your serum insulin could have been elevated and you could be having increased rates of cancer and heart attacks and strokes and visual changes and vascular changes all over the body. Could have been avoided. Yeah. And so we need to open our mind to change what we're doing. Industry and government, including pharmaceutical companies, will not lead the way. You got to help me lead the way. Dr. Kraft proved that elevated serum insulin causes 95% of vascular disease. So when you see all these heart attacks and strokes and you see these big hearts in front of the hospital, and they're doing bypass surgery and stents and all this stuff, that's great. But most of that could have been prevented, and once they leave the hospital, they should be told how to eat properly and exercise properly so it doesn't come back. Just the script to the ill, which can save a lot of lives too. But if you ate right, exercised right, you would save so many more people, okay? So the earliest diagnosis of a diabetes is neither by fasting blood sugar nor HbA1c, which is 3 months of blood sugar. It's by an insulin assay, insulin test. They can be, if you go to LabCorp, it's $14 or something, not expensive, okay? You can go to any test at DuPont, less than $100, get your the glucose tolerance test and the insulin tolerance test, in case your doctor doesn't want to order it or your insurance doesn't cover it. Your life's at stake. Don't be in denial. Don't be in denial. Get blood tested. Remember, Dr. Kraft says we just start testing at age 3. I've been saying for years, age 2. So I thought maybe I'm a little radical. No, I was not. I ran across his work recently. He proved it with studies. He studied people aged 3 to 88 in Chicago. 14,000 people when you total them all up, and proved what I've been saying. I like confirmation, you know, because sometimes I wonder, am I too pushy? No, I'm not. I'm right on the money. Let me tell you this instinct. You got to step up to bat, okay? Get your own testing done. I spoke to a head of Indiana Public Health about 3 years ago in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. He now is the Surgeon General of the United States. I brought with me books and DVDs. I brought with me about 10 books, reviewed it with a head of diabetes, another person, head of chronic disease, another head of family doctors, how they're educated. Spoke to them, total 2 hours, all these people. And I explained this to them. And they're in charge of our public health. You know what they did? Nothing. 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 What an opportunity I gave them. But the present head of Lutheran Hospital, Tony there, is going to meet with me again in about 10 days. He may do something about it. I'm very hopeful. It would be fantastic, of course, to have a hospital lead the fight of stopping, preventing, reversing diabetes, early testing. It would be affect an unbelievable amount of people, save all kind of money in health care. Hospital could get getting paid for keeping people well, not just a disease. They'll still make money. Yes. Pay them through something called capitation. You pay them for getting them well. It could be a change. So help me in this endeavor. If you want to read more, let me put up some other books. End of Diabetes by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Yeah, just think of it. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, a friend of mine. I beat him in tennis last time we played, incidentally. He's all over the internet. He even has personal consultations that you can get, I think, through insurance even. And the back of his book is my name, actually, my name. We sold over 2 million copies. The idea is not here to sell books. It's the information. He said, end of diabetes. Don't accept the disease. Oh, my blood sugars are normal, I'm taking pills. You still got the disease, and your insulin levels are up, and you're still getting vascular disease, increased rates of cancer. You may do a little better, but you want to get rid of this guy, which I feel through proper nutrition, nutrient-dense diet, fruits of color, no limit, eat all you want, maybe have a smoothie in the morning, maybe 20% organic meat. They have good recipes in these books. You live to be 100. Or you want to die young, get dementia. Over half of dementia is due to diabetes, not Alzheimer's, diabetes. They don't tell you that. They don't want to tell you that. I'm telling you that. Most of dementia is due to diabetes. This is an excellent book to read. Many other books, but here's another one, Goodbye Diabetes, Wes Youngberg. Okay. Because you got to participate in your health care, especially if you have diabetes already, okay? Very good book. You notice he has a glucose meter in the front. I really like that idea. And actually, I've done some of that so I can teach people. Like I'll make a smoothie, for example. And I bought me that meter and get a little drop of blood. Don't hurt at all. And I'll check my blood sugar an hour later to see, and I have no problem with diabetes, to be sure that I'm not putting too many sugary products in there. So especially if you get a touch of diabetes stuff, get one of those testers. Very simple. And maybe for a month after each food item of eating the same stuff, measure the blood sugar an hour or two later. You know, if it's 140, maybe there's too much sugar in it. I think it's an excellent habit to get into, especially if you're diabetic. Check your blood. Find out what the story is so you can change your habits and do something different. These are two great books to read. I wrote one too, an end of the non-diet book. Then Amazon, I get 15 books on it, but I'm not here selling my books. I like recommending other books that it's confirmation of what I recommend, and I wouldn't recommend a book unless I felt it was a good book. But since I've read a lot of books, I think I can evaluate books a little better, and I have no financial interest in them. There are certain racial groups, ethnic groups, that run a lot higher rate of diabetes. We have to accept that, and especially in slavery, they were no breakfast, no lunch, what they give them. So they had to eat sugar cane out of the fields. That has caused some genetic change. I've seen it in books and pictures of them, actually. Probably 90% of certain racial groups have diabetes. Most of them don't know it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I teach in some of their churches. I know 2 or 3 churches in town that are doing something about it, and this is just great. But many are blind to it. You walk into a church and they're handing you a donut. That's like handing you cocaine. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Nature designed in us the dopamine, quick fix center, and the serotonin, the long-term fix center. So very easy for us to see something sugary and want to eat it. Nature designed it in us, but the darn trouble is we really have a health problem, and you're eating every day. Your body will explode, you'll get diabetes, and you're often running. The darn trouble is many of these complications are common. Amputations. You see a person in a wheelchair or someone with amputated leg walking around with a cane, for example, also they were diabetic. The majority of the time that was preventable. Sometimes it runs in the whole family. So genes have something to do with it. But most of it is genes that are too big from eating too much, okay? It's genetic expression, okay? Eating the wrong food. So I think to have a smoothie in the morning, vegetables and kale, if you tolerate it, for example. And recipes are on my Facebook website. And add some cumin, some ginger, and I use water mainly as a solution. But some people recommend pea milk, for example, which I've done before. Also, it's high protein. Not much sugar and good fats. We need some fat. You think, well, I don't eat fatty food. 50 years they told us fat's the bad stuff. We need to eat a certain amount of fat, but it needs to be good fats. And when we go into a little bit of fat metabolism, we're not metabolizing sugar. So that's a good way to help actually lose weight. A touch of keto, not total keto, it's nothing but fat, but a touch of keto gets you out of sugar metabolism. And some weight loss, and the odds of diabetes go down. So I'm going to emphasize to you to get blood tested. I don't care if you're one of the trophies, thin on the outside but fat on the inside. You are what your blood test is, okay? You're not just the way you look. You are your blood test. 25% of people 25% of people are thin, but yet have type 2 diabetes. So you are what your blood test is. And the best test, remember, that I want you to get is the glucose tolerance test and the insulin tolerance test. It's also called the Kraft test or Rudy's test, whatever you want to call it. Because the blood sugar may be normal, or the serum insulin is elevated, and then lose a few pounds, or exercise a little more, or change what you eat, and your path to diabetes is interrupted, and you're going to live to be 100. So I think everyone should have these tests done, especially children, because if you can, especially if you have an overweight child, or for example, odds of them diabetic extremely high. They may be undiagnosed. If they didn't have the Kraft test, they're undiagnosed. The insulin test, just the blood sugar, it's not good enough. My blood sugar was normal, but I weigh 220. You got diabetes, okay? Unless you prove it to me differently. There are exceptions, unless you prove it to me differently. What I'm speaking about now is in many books. Many books. It's not just in these, but I think to do a little bit of reading, I think is important. You can pick up this sheet here at the Three Rivers Pharmacy, and it has the complications of diabetes, in fact, not all of them, but a lot of them. You'll notice if you go by Three Rivers Pharmacy by Concordia High now, that it says that Dr. Rudy's Wellness Center. I don't own this place. I don't make any money in this place, but Sheila Arnold, who owns the pharmacy out of the goodness of her heart, has given me a free office, a big screen TV where they play YouTube shows, or lectures that I've given. People come into the pharmacy and they want a prescription, and Sheila will say, well, do you want to get rid of your high blood pressure? Of course I do. Well, once you watch one of Dr. Kachmann's wellness shows on vascular disease and diabetes, and if you want to see him in person, you'll see you on Fridays, like I did today. I saw 4 people for free. Yeah. Why am I doing this? Because I'm a doctor. There's so much diabetes out there, and it's 50 diseases associated with it. So many people with weight problems, all of which I can help you to get over. Also, I talk to people who are addicted to medications, for example, or frankly, any medical problem, and try to point you in the right directions, books you might want to read, websites you might want to look at, and to meet this very enthusiastic Sheila, who is running this pharmacy to make a living, but in her heart, she's being a true pharmacist. She wants to get people well. She'll tell you side effects certain medications have, for example. And I think she even delivers medications to people's homes as somebody do that. I would say that's really a true pharmacy, isn't? And now she even put up a 10-foot sign on the side of the building, Dr. Rudy's Wellness Center. But I remind people, it's not about me. It's about the people that I could get well, and many people have. I've had people walk and say, hey, doc, I'm off all medications, and the pharmacy makes less money. Sheila says, that's fine. You're better. That's the purpose of why we are here. So it's really a wonderful note. What I want to get in your mind is that don't accept type 2 diabetes. Don't accept it. Say, I want to get rid of it. Not that everybody can, but 90% of the people can indeed get rid of it. And difficult? No. No. Smoothie a day will keep the doctor away. No, if the right stuff is in the smoothie. Eat 3 meals a day, take a walk, sing a song. I didn't ask you to start lifting weights or run to a gym, which would be nice, but that's not necessary. You know, take a nice walk, play some music, and you'll get over this problem. See me for some advice, see me in follow-up to see you're getting over this. And I have the show I'm so privileged to have the show 6:30 every Monday. Let's hope and pray, maybe say a prayer with me, that the new president of Newfoundland Hospital, Tony, after reading Dr. Kraft's book and speaking to you some more, decides to take on the path of the hospital system, diagnosing people with diabetes very early, and then working on stopping, preventing, and reversing the disease, in spite of being great at treating the disease. But the two work together. The two work together. That's what a true hospital system could do. And they could spread it through the area, because they own a lot of other hospitals too. It'd be some very positive news, something very positive to talk to, and I'd be glad to see any of their people at the pharmacy for free if need be. And of course, we have wonderful diabetic educators there, but they're embracing the system. But we need to get the word out into the newspapers, onto the TV. The people need to know, and not just accept diabetes. I don't accept diabetes unless I've exhausted proper nutrition, exercise, gaining knowledge. I want to get rid of it. Fort Wayne could be the leader in that, and we're going to get it done. We love you. I really appreciate you listening to me. Excuse my passion, but I am a doctor, and people that know me well enough, that's the way I am. That's the way I play tennis. Incidentally, this week, if you read the Journal-Gazette sports section, I won 3 matches, no age group, okay? So at age 39 for the 44th time, not too bad, not too bad. I had one wife say to me, young guy I beat, that I played, he says, well, if you were as young as my husband, you could beat him. I didn't know what to make out of that, except to laugh. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.